what are the phases of melanoma clinical trials? And, you know, is one phase of trial necessarily better than another phase of trial? How should we think about that?
No, that's a great question and very important for people to understand that not all clinical trials are the same. They go from phase 1 to phase 4, and there are various variations along the way. Phase 1 clinical trials are usually testing a novel treatment or a novel treatment combination, and the goal is to find the best tolerable dose or the optimal dose and schedule for that particular treatment or treatment combination. And so often those trials start with a low dose and then escalate up. And there's a chance that you may go too high and people may have some side effects. But the goal is to then find the dose that seems to be the one that people can tolerate and has the best chance of being effective. Phase 2 trials are taking that standard dose and regimen and seeing how effective it is in a particular patient population. So this involves more patients who all get the same treatment. And the goal is to see what the response rate looks like and what the toxicity looks like in the desired patient population. If you have an approach that looks like it's promising in phase 2 and it might be better than the current standard of care, the next step is to bring it to a phase 3 trial, which typically compares the new approach to the existing standard of care in a randomized fashion. So when you enroll in that trial, there's a computer program that picks which treatment the subject is going to go on. And you could get standard of care or you could get the new treatment. And at the end of the study, it hopefully answers the question of whether the new treatment is better than the standard of care, both in terms of efficacy and hopefully without adding much toxicity. And the FDA pays a lot of attention to those phase 3 trials. And if there's something that looks to be more safe and more effective than the standard of care, that will become the new standard of care for that population. So once that standard of care is established, then there are trials that are done to try to figure out how best to use that new approach. How long should we give it for? Who are the people who are most likely to respond? How do we best manage the side effects? Those type of things that look for biomarkers or how to potentially give the treatment better once it's been approved are what we call phase 4 trials. And they all put together help us develop new treatments that can improve the outcomes for our patients.
And these days, they're even combining some of these. So you can be on a phase 1/2 or a 1A/2 phase 2 that seamlessly transitions into a phase 3. So you might even be able to be on a study that evolves in these phases of clinical trial.
Right. But the individual patient can't enter the trial more than once.
Right.
So,
That's right.
so hopefully you're joining when the dose is figured out and the schedule is figured out, and you know it's something that works. But phase 1 studies are very important because that gives us a chance to make sure that we're using the best treatments for patients going forward.